In my last test, I was thoroughly lambasted for daring to suggest that the little BMW G310 GS was possibly the best adventure bike out there. I even gave it a 10 out of 10, which seemed to annoy an awful lot of people. So this week, I'm putting aside any pretense of being logical and sensible, and I'm going purely on emotion and the love of riding. And for that, we need the biggest and the best. And if this isn't the best, then I don't know what is, because this is the Ducati Multistrada 1260S. I know we covered this bike a couple of months ago after Don had been out on the world launch. So you might be asking, why cover it again? Are you kidding? It's a new Ducati, for crying out loud. Why wouldn't I take the opportunity to ride one whenever I could? If you've got an ounce of red blood coursing through your veins, then you can't help but be excited by this. You can't help but get your pulse racing, your heart beating, and the adrenaline flowing. This is motorcycling with a capital f***ing brilliance. We've long loved the Multistrada 1200. Fast, fun, brilliantly dynamic, stylish, practical. What wasn't there to like? But bike development doesn't stand still, and the 1200 was starting to look a little breathless against rivals from KTM and BMW. Hence the 1260. It's got the variable valve timing engine out of the XDR, and that means 160 horsepower and about 130 newton meters of torque. Not huge hikes over the standard 1200, but what it does have is 18% more torque at 5,500 RPM. And that makes it rather exciting. Open the throttle in any gear, and you're going to warp drive. And the best feature might not be the engine or the new, more stable chassis, but this thing in front of me here, this TFT dash. And actually, that's not the best thing. What is the best thing is what you can use it for. If you like toys, then this is the bike for you. And this screen gives you access to the very best toy on this bike. So at first glance, this screen looks rather complicated. You can see it's got all these numbers down here. It's got this menu that you scroll through here. And it's quite a lot of information. So how would you change? This is obviously traction control, ABS, wheelie control on a sports touring bike, really? And Ducati quick shifter. So very, very cool system, this. You scroll down to menu, click on that. Okay, so it gives you all this information. So you click on riding mode. Let's look at the touring. So you've got your different riding modes: sport, touring, urban, enduro. Again, with these size wheels, I think not, but it's there. So if you click on touring, now we can configure the engine. Now, the best thing about this, it can be really complicated, all these systems. They give you a number, and you never quite really know what those numbers mean. But on this, you see here, it gives you a diagram of the bike, and it shows you your own engine, which is clever. But it also gives you high, medium, and low. Now, if you click between them, if I go to high, it shows you've got full power, and it's dynamic. If you go to medium, it's full power, but it's smoother throttle application. And if you go to low, it's reduced power and also smooth. So you kind of know what the settings are doing. If we go back and let's go to traction control. Now, this is really cool. So at the moment, we're on 5, which is on the road. And it's more towards the safe, stable side of the scale. So you kind of know that if you enter 6, it goes to really safe, stable. If you go to 7, it goes to wet, but it's giving you a little bit more performance. And then 8 is like full nanny mode, and it's wet and very stable, which I think is very cool. If you go the other way, So back 5 down to 4. Now you're getting more into the performance side of road, full performance on your road. And then again, with this bike, it's not very relevant, but you've got off-road, safe, stable, and performance. And indeed, you can turn the whole traction control off. If we go back again, ABS. Now this has cornering ABS. And again, you've got your levels 3, 2, and 1. So at the moment on 3, it's safe and stable on its road. It's got performance on road, or you've got the full off-road, and it's front only in off-road. It's a fantastic system. Wheelie control. You can see here, you've got different levels. So you can go 8, which is safe and stable, so that really intervenes very early, all the way down to 1, where that front wheel will come up, probably to a certain level, then it'll stay there, but it will still come up. It's a fantastic system. It really is. It's so easy to use. Then we can go to the suspension. You can set up the front. Okay, harder, gives you sort of more performance, medium and softer for comfort, and softest for really comfortable or possibly really soft roads. Blah, 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 all very impressive, but I'm sorry, the only thing you really need to do with this bike is to get on and ride it. Now, I did say at the beginning of this test that this particular test would be all about passion and the joy of motorcycling. And I've not really delivered that up till now, which is a shame, because if any bike has reinforced that passion of motorcycling in me, it is this one. Because out on the open road, it is epic. Everything about this bike is just brilliant. And I know it sounds stupid to say that, and we probably think we say that about many bikes, but there's just something about this bike. The engine is magnificent. There is power everywhere. The chassis, which the wheelbase has been lengthened on this bike by about 5 centimetres. It feels stable and secure. The suspension, the active suspension, you don't really know it's there. You don't feel it working, but it always gives you the ride and the handling that you need. It's just wonderful. If there's one bad thing about this bike, is that you can't ride it enough. I don't want this test to end. I just want to keep on riding till I get to the sea, turn round and come back. It's brilliant. If there's one criticism, and I've got to really search for this, is that the screen isn't the best in the world. Even on its highest setting, there's still quite a lot of wind buffeting coming onto my helmet. But you know what, you can live with that. Do you want another criticism? I haven't actually got one.
Well, I think I'm going to ask for the most obvious thing in the world ever. Can we get the Iron Horse spec box up?
Get it up there.
And I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'm going to hazard a guess that this could possibly be a 10 out of 10, could it?
I am going to make no apologies about this.
So it is.
For the second bike in a row after the G310 GS, this is a 10
You're telling me
out of 10.
there's not anything you can knock a mark off for?
No.
I mean, I heard you complain a little bit about the screen.
The screen,
But it's adjustable, isn't it?
it goes up like about 3 inches or so. It's not the best screen in the business, but you can't knock a whole mark off just for that.
And didn't you mention a slightly, clunky gearbox?
The
or
gearbox, it has a tendency, unless you're really positive with it, it can get a false neutral every now and again, but you soon learn to just be really positive, and that's not an issue. So
And everything else is brilliant.
There's nothing that you can take a full mark off. I could take 0.1 of a mark off, maybe.
OK, well, now we've got the spec box. Let's talk power. It always was about 150 odd, 160 horse.
160 horse, 130 newton meters of torque.
That's stupendously massive.
And over the 1200 model, it's now 18% more torque at 5,500 RPM or something. So in the mid-range, it's just
That's significant.
monstrous.
That's a bit like having a light pressure turbo on there or something.
It's honestly, you twist the throttle, and before almost as soon as the signal's gone from your brain to your hand, you've overtaken somebody. It's fantastic.
What is this? Isn't an adventure bike, is it? It's a sport touring motorcycle.
It's a sport touring, and it inspires you to ride. I didn't want to get off it. I don't want to give it back.
Okay,
Honestly, don't
so
wanna give
how
it
much
back.
does this unbelievableness cost?
253,000 rand, which does sound like a lot of money, but if you look at it against the bikes it's going up against, the electronics are superb. The engine is
Well, what is it going up
fantastic.
against? You've got your good old BMW standby, which is the XR.
The S1000 XR,
KTM's got its GT.
the GT.
So, if those two were parked here next to this, which one are you going home on?
This.
Really? You didn't even think?
No, don't have to. I love the GT because I had one as a long-termer, and I love that. But this is just on another level to everything. It is perfect. It is possibly the perfect bike.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I make no apologies about it.
Stop gushing, stop gushing.
No, the check's in the post. I'm going to say this.
I'm only jealous, actually, because I've always loved the Multi, and I can't wait to have a go on this.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for now. We'll be back after this very short break with some interesting news about electricity.